Welcome to Food Froffies Fortnite, episode 3, if we're even counting at this point. I'm Cameron.
I'm Gary Smith.
And today we've got a special guest joining us all the way from the US of A.
I'm not, okay. I was in the USA for a bit, but I am from here.
He's from...
Allegedly.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
He's from Glen Iris?
I'm from...
which is in the state of New York?
Yes. I'm from Mentone originally, down on the
fuck.
peninsula, and then I was from Glen Iris.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, I know. It was rough.
Please welcome Mr. Tobias, who is a friend of the pod. He'll be joining us today to discuss his endeavours all the way throughout the US and beyond.
Yay. Thanks, boys, for having me on. I have just done a sort of scouting mission to the US in search of the Frothies and the food and the Fortnite.
Well, that's what we set out for you to do.
Yes.
You didn't do anything else there. So.
No, that was exclusively the mission was to check the food and the Frothies and the Fortnite, and I've come back with extensive scientific results to provide to the good people of the listener of the Food Frothies Fortnite podcast.
Very good. Before we do get into all of that, you might as well let us all know what you did get up to or your main objectives in the US were.
Other than the food, the Frothies, and the Fortnite?
Yes.
Well, I kind of scouted over on a musical mission. I'm a musician, and I went over for a conference to play and learn from some hectic musicians in Nashville. They were from all over the place, but the conference was in Nashville. And I made some new friends, and I had some fun experiences. I got to hang out and chat with and play with all sorts of cool people, and now I'm back mostly to talk about none of that and the food.
Well, yeah, no one's interested in all of that.
No, exactly. Neither was I.
It's not interesting at all.
I was sitting there in the conferences going, I don't care how many albums you've made. Where's the best food and Frothies?
Well, yeah, we typically start our episodes by talking about food,
right,
transitioning to Froffies, and then we'll talk a little bit about Fortnite. But
Lovely.
As you saw on episode 2, if you did watch that, not necessarily you, maybe listeners or watchers of the show, we've had Fortnite playing in the background. I'll take the realms on that one and
very good.
Keep listeners watchers entertained in one way or another.
Yes, well, because we can't just be talking.
Are we going to share the Fortnite playing? Or is it just going to be...
We could overlay.
Yeah, I think we overlaid, yeah.
No, I mean, are you going to be playing?
Oh, no, I think Cameron takes the helm, and maybe we do some commentating if something interesting happens, but otherwise...
Because Toby is well known as a Fortnite player.
I have played Fortnite on occasion.
Do you play it on PlayStation? Or?
I don't.
Okay.
I have a sort of box that I...
Mostly a PC man.
Yes, I got a bunch of sort of green boards and I stuffed them into a box and I made it play Fortnite for me. That's kind of my MO. I've never had I had a PS2 in the olden days when there was a PS2, but since then I haven't had any sort of consoles worth talking about. I'm a Nintendo boy, which is not really Fortnite adjacent. I think you can get Fortnite on a Switch, but it's not like,
yeah, you can,
high fidelity.
Good.
No.
Oh man, this guy's dancing.
You're not gonna be running sort of 250 frames a second on your Nintendo unless you're playing Wii Sports.
Hey,
which is not Fortnite. Yeah, exactly.
We don't talk about Wii Sports.
We're not here to kink shame.
It's not called Food Frothies and Wii Sports. It's called Food Frothies and Fortnite.
Well,
yeah.
Excuse me. Without further progression on whatever we're talking about here,
without further ado,
let's talk about the food in the US. So we saw a lot of bodegas and bagels, and something you call chopped cheese.
Chopped cheese.
Give us a bit of information about what that entails.
Sure. Well,
should you give us a day-by-day food journey?
Sure. I mean,
start from the top.
Start from the top. I actually would have been the first day I got there. Would have been the first chopped cheese. But basically, I kind of had this idea of the food and the Frothies I was going to get into in the US, which was probably a lot of things like Popeyes or Chick-fil-A or
Did you have either of those?
no, or Raising Cane's.
You didn't have any of those.
Or White Castle.
I mean-
and I did see all of those places. Chipotle I walked past.
You never went into a Chipotle?
I didn't go into a Chipotle. There were a lot of those fast food joints that I sort of ended up. I thought that bang, we've had a major violation on the Fortnite.
He has the shield.
He has a Captain America shield. All's well. I kind of had this idea that I would do all of the fast foods, and when I got there, I kind of discovered that I was being pulled in a different direction, and that the sort of standard meta of fast food, especially in New York, which is where I was about 3/5 of the time, had nothing to do with all of those fast food joints and much more to do with local bodegas that you could pit against each other on sort of standard deli sandwiches. And after some thorough prodding from Mr. Declan to my left, the New York pizza joints. So when I got into New York, it would have been probably 11 o'clock at night. I wouldn't have slept for several days on the flight because it was very uncomfortable. And when I got in, I needed something to eat at about midnight when everything had closed. And my auntie told me that there was a little bodega around the corner that was open 24 hours that I could go and get a something from. And that was Bubba's Marketplace, which I'm sure if anyone who's has been watching my escapades knows that I then frequented almost every day for the next month. And I went in, I didn't know what to order, and they said that they had a chopped cheese. And I'd seen a video on YouTube, I think it was like GQ or one of those like Vox Pop things about like the authentic New York sandwich, which I was told was a chopped cheese. And so I got one, and it was really incredible. And from then, that was kind of my go-to if I was in dire need. I would wake up sometimes in the middle of the night hungry and go around the corner and to the local deli and get a chopped cheese. So I feel like that's a good place to start.
So where in New York were you staying?
I was technically staying in Harlem, but it was a place called Morningside Heights. It was kind of west and north about 10 streets above Central Park. So technically Harlem, I believe, begins above 110th Street, famously, as the song suggests. The song from Jackie Brown, the Quentin Tarantino film. But I was on 120th, just to the west of Morningside Park, right on the corner of kind of just across the road from Columbia University. Very, very nice spot, and quite beautiful during the day, but I was told that you couldn't walk anywhere at night. Quality content, except if you were to walk just 30 seconds out of your house to the local bodega. I could do that. That was relatively safe. But through the park, ain't no way.
Yeah, I saw a couple of your stories. You were walking around at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, I don't know about that, brother.
Yes. Well, those would have been the very short and relatively okay missions.
Oh my God.
From my place. It was maybe a street and a half, maybe 30 seconds. And this was the short side of the street, because the city blocks in New York, you've got like the long end and then a bunch of really short ones, to Bubba's Marketplace to get 9 times out of 10 a chopped cheese, but I also got a couple of pastas from there. I got a Philly cheesesteak on Declan's request. What else did I grab?
Recommendation.
Yes. I think that was... if I think of any other things, I will bring them up. But it was variations on the sort of standard chopped cheese.
So for the layman, can you describe what a bodega is? My understanding is kind of in between like a sandwich and a bagel and
a bodega.
Like a loaded sandwich.
A bodega is the shop venue.
It's like it's basically a corner store.
A bodega is it's sort of a blend between a small local supermarket,
and
a deli,
and a corner shop.
And they've got sort of
food?
your basic essentials. They've got your dishwashing liquid. They got your chippies. They've got a whole bunch of drinks of all different sizes, and then sort of it's generally to the right of the open door. There's sort of a big giant deli, and then behind that you got your coffee and you got your grill, and you can get like, deli meats to take away, but they can also make you deli sandwiches.
So the wiki page says it's a small owner-operated convenience store serving hot and prepared food, often open late hours and typically with ethnic market influences.
Yes.
Yeah, and
So-
a little bit
yes.
more complex than what you'd describe as a 7-Eleven or something
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Well, allegedly the chopped cheese was actually, I believe, a Lebanese inspired dish, and it was the sort of Lebanese community who then took that and subverted it into a sandwich, and that is sort of the origins
Okay.
as far as the ethnic influences is
The
concerned.
Daga Yamniya.
Yes, there you go.
So after New York, you moved on to
does
Nashville,
look
from my
pretty similar.
understanding.
Yes. So I spent a week in New York. Then I went over to Nashville, and the bulk majority of Nashville I spent in a hotel. But the hotel was preparing meals, and they were all quite good. They did the old like Nashville hot chicken.
Oh, yes.
They did chicken wings. They had some crazy hot sauces. But they also did some really funny American food things. They served watermelon with dinner as like a sort of palate cleanser,
Right, okay.
which I was sort of taken aback by.
You know what? Like Australia, like we're pretty influenced by American food at this point, I'd say. Like, we all love burgers,
And pizza. Well,
American
pizza's
style
Italian, but,
pizza.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Damn. Just a moment of
Shit like
silence for Golden Bender.
R.I.P. But there's a few things that are like kind of weird still to us. Like they have biscuits with chicken and stuff, which
Yeah.
is
Yes.
it's like a non-sweet scone.
And they call their burgers sandwiches as well at like
They
fast
do.
food
If
restaurants.
they're chicken burgers.
Yeah.
Beef,
Yeah, they're all chicken sandwiches. That's
beef,
true.
beef ones are burgers there.
Okay, right.
But then what I aren't convinced by, but Cameron's a big fan of, is chicken and waffles.
I'm on board for chicken and waffles.
When I went to Roscoe's in LA on I think Sunset Boulevard or around there, I ate the chicken then the waffles as like a dessert kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't really want to mix the two together, but then when I think about it, like sometimes you get like a chicken burger and it's got like a sweet sauce.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of the same thing, really. Or like you eat a savory meal and then you drink a very sweet soft drink. That's very sweet. So
Yes.
I think it's just like I'm not used to that particular dish, and then
Yes.
Touching back onto one of our first episodes, I think we discussed the waffle double. So
the KFC chicken and
yeah,
waffle.
so you weren't massive into those, were you, Gary?
So the the first one I had was fucking good.
Yeah,
Second one was okay, and then I'm like, okay, that's enough.
yeah, right.
And then I guess I'll get one again if it ever comes back. But usually when they do the double, it's a variation on the double. So I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if we'll
it.
ever get a waffle double again.
Right. I've got a pitch in here that there's a cafe, I think, in Ivanhoe. I think called Pinky's. I don't know if it's still there, but if it is still there, they do the best chicken and waffles. It is beautiful. It is like, a cafe rather than a fast food establishment. But it's fried chicken, it's crispy, it's juicy, it's maple syrup, it's cinnamon, it's sriracha,
With a quispy.
which is crispy as
Quispy.
crispy, and it's waffles. It's a joy. I would highly recommend.
Very good.
Yes.
As far as other food ventures were concerned in the US, you did take a brief stop in California.
I did take a brief stop in California. That was simultaneously some of the best food experiences of my entire life,
Here we go.
and some of the most harrowing moments for my stomach
Oh,
in the
geez.
world. Because San Diego is right on the. Is that the Pacific? Yes, that is the Pacific.
Yes.
It's right on the Pacific, and it is like within a very, very short. If you're on comms, tell me how far it is from Mexico. It is like less than an hour from Mexico.
San Diego.
Yeah.
About 0 seconds.
Yeah, it's literally right on the edge with Mexico. And so a lot of the food there, because it's close to the sea, is seafood. So there's a lot of sushi. There's a lot of oysters. But it's also Mexican inspired. So you get a lot of ceviche. You get a lot of fish tacos. You get a lot of fish stuff. And because it's near... we're not going to get into Froffies yet. But because it's near Mexico, there's a lot of tequila and a lot of margaritas.
Cervezas.
And I like to drink a coffee in the morning. So whilst I was over there, I was kind of eating a bunch of like raw fish and taco stuff and like lime juice, so like citrus. And then I had a coffee, which I like to have with milk. And then I was drinking heaps of tequila. And so whilst I was thoroughly enjoying myself, I could feel my stomach being extremely confused and upset with why I was putting this stuff into my body in that combination. But oh my god, this ceviche in San Diego, unbelievable. Life-changing stuff.
Yeah, right, okay. Ceviche.
And the sushi, like the fish is just so fresh and very well prepared.
So it's more sashimi?
It's mostly raw fish. So
Yeah,
ceviche, if anyone hasn't had to know what a ceviche is, it's like a raw fish that is put in a sort of not necessarily a marinade, but like a citrus salt brine, which cures it, which makes it safer to eat, and it's delicious. That's the ceviche, and they put like, I don't know, coriander and stuff.
I mean, we're near the sea here. How does it compare to like Melbourne seafood?
The thing about over there, so like I used to work at an establishment that had a ceviche, and the ceviche over here is like just like you would need to. It'd have to be a special occasion for you to pay that much for it.
Right.
Whereas over there, it was like less than $7.
So it's like cocaine.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's not a terrible analogy, especially considering it was right next to the Mexican border. But, yeah, it was much cheaper, much more approachable. God damn it. A lot more prevalent. Like, there was way more of it. I hate this. Yeah, that's how I would say it compares. It's less expensive than in Melbourne, and there's way more of it.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right, on the topic of being near Mexico,
Right.
In 2016, RIP.
RIP 2016.
yeah,
God, I wish
fuck.
it was 2016 again.
That was a good year, but also a really bad year. My dad died.
Yeah, I mean, no one was having the best time.
Anyway. So I went to San Antonio.
Is that in Mexico?
It is near Mexico. It's in Texas.
Okay, right. So kind of similar border, but further inland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not as close as San Diego, but you know,
Yep.
lots of Mexican people.
Yep.
I'm sure some of them illegitimate.
Oh.
All right.
But you know, like
Press on.
you'll be driving on the freeway, and then like there'll be this little house looking thing on the side of the road, and you pull over and you walk in, and there's a bunch of Mexican people plus you making like the best tacos you've ever had in your life
Yeah.
for like $1 or something.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
So
yeah.
you'd walk in, you'd order 2 bean and cheese tacos or a barbacoa taco or something, and a can of Coke or whatever, and then they give you corn chips for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if you experienced
I
that.
got
The
free corn
cantina
chips,
type
yes.
corn chips?
I guess so.
Yeah.
And then like
I think actually I got tostadas, which were like the sort of thick circular. It was like a corn chip, but you break it up yourself, sort of thing.
Okay. So yeah, you can go there. You get your corn chips, couple tacos, a drink, you're completely satisfied, like you're full, and then you go to pay and it's like $3.
Oh my God. It was
something
truly extremely gratifying for the meal and also the low price of the meal. And I've come back here and discovered that it's like $12 for a Zinger burger. I'm like, what? Oh, much as a Zinger burger is extremely enjoyable. And this is a Zinger stacker we're talking about.
Okay. I was going to correct you.
I know. I was about to say.
I'm like, bro,
let me
maybe,
just lock
maybe
in
a
for a
box
second.
almost.
No.
How much a box
we've got
is
the
now?
double. Not to be confused with the double, which is different. But it has 2 patties of fucking chicken. I don't know if that's a chicken patty. It's like a piece. Anyway.
Semantics.
That is more expensive.
Yeah, okay. I don't really understand how the food economy works there because, I mean, a lot of it you would consider like being factored into the fact that you've got a tip.
Oh, that's
at least
true.
like pretty much every time. But and do they have a goods and services tax there?
They definitely. So the way that they do everything for some reason,
it's not included in the price.
it is. They calculate. It's not in the price, but it is in whatever price flashes up on the old tap pay.
Yeah,
so
right.
they'll be like, this is $5.
I think sometimes
And then
it
you'll
isn't.
flash it up, and then it'll be like, bing, it's actually $6.
And then how much do you want to tip?
Then you tap, and the way that America works is whenever you tap a card, it's not actually a purchase, it's just a pre-authorize. And then you write down the tip, and they like edit it later, but because you've pre-authed your card.
Which is a bit trusting, really.
Yes. I
Yeah.
know. It's a little rogue.
I've seen those memes where it's like they cover the FPOS, or part of the FPOS machine in the no tip section. So it means you kind of have to tip regardless.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like on a touch screen, they put tape over it.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
There was definitely, there were a lot of times, because there were places that asked for a tip that really, it was like, I just bought a $1 Arizona and now it's asking for a tip. And in some of those cases, I straight up did not tip. I'm a big enough man to admit that. But there were other small cases where it would be like $5.90. And instead of doing like some sort of whatever, I would do like
10 cents?
60 cents. Like round it up without being like 10 cents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than doing like some sort of gratuity tip, I'd be like, I'm just going to round. If it was like $18, I'll just round it up to 20, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's like roughly 10-15% that they sort of ask for.
I think it's
right?
more, actually.
Yeah.
It's generally 15, 20, 25
Yeah.
are the 3 options. And then you have to hit the custom button for
For
you know,
anything
for
less.
any of the other stuff.
I think it's 20 usually.
Okay.
But then some of the places, so like at the hotel that I was staying at in Nashville, you just tap your card, you wouldn't get to touch the machine, and they'd give you a receipt with like open, and every single receipt you get, you have to sign and give back, regardless of what's going on. But on those, there's an open slot for like tip percentage or tip amount.
Okay.
So you can either say plus 20 and not do the maths, or if it's like $17.90, you can just say total 20, work out the percentage, and you have to sign it at the bottom.
When I went in 2016, America still didn't really do like tapping the card.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
okay.
like I went to the movie theater and they're like, oh yeah, just swipe it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this, the 90s? And then one time like they had like an Apple Pay thing and I'm like, oh, I can just tap my card, and everyone's like, what the fuck did you just do?
Whoa, yeah.
Like, what was that? I'm like, what do you
This
mean?
man living in 2050.
Yeah.
I think about that at work. Like when people tap and pay, it saves me and them at least 30 seconds. Well, at least 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds
Oh, definitely.
per transaction. And if
Rather
you've got a
than
long line,
swiping and waiting and then pinning and then question mark and then confirm and then authorize and then...
some people could forget their PIN or whatever.
Oh,
Like it just saves so much time.
absolutely.
Do you remember when they brought in the PayWave, PayPass thing? A lot of people were like, oh my God, this is so unsafe.
Yeah.
Like, Which is true. Like, you know, you lose your card, someone finds it, and they want
Just start tippy tapping away.
They want to, you know, go to the local Maccas and buy $100 worth of Maccas.
Yep.
There's nothing really stopping them.
Well, I think the one of the things that really brought that to the forefront is that most people, when you've got it on your phone, you need the face recognition, which is effectively
Nowadays,
the new PIN code,
which is great.
Yeah, because that's pretty cut and dry. I can't see a workaround for that. Like if someone stole my phone, they wouldn't be able to pay for stuff. You know what I mean?
Nick Cage face off.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I feel like that would be a lot of work to just get into someone's phone.
There's a lot of
for
work in the film too.
Well, that's true. Shall we pivot to Froffies?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much wrapped up the food section of your.
Yes.
In summary,
Can I
Oh, yeah.
interject? I am very disappointed that you didn't go to Popeyes.
I didn't go to Popeyes. I mean,
Or Chipotle.
So shall we? I got a couple of things actually to wrap it up, but
Next time you go, you're going there.
First
right?
thing is let me just list all the places I looked at and then decided it was not the time to go into. Raising Cane's seemed extremely popular. That was a Nashville joint, but there was some in New York.
I didn't even know that existed until like this year.
Yeah.
Or last year or something.
Popeyes. I went past a Whitechapel.
Whitechapel or
White Castle? White Castle.
yeah.
Whitechapel, the popular deathcore band.
Is that a deathcore band?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. I was not aware. I thought
Big
it was
deathcore fan here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Lerone.
Yes, that is my middle name. What else was there? There was a
So that
Chipotle.
just-
I really was thinking about doing a Chipotle, but I discovered that if you go into sort of a really... It's like a kebab shop. If you go into a Mexican restaurant that, like, looks pretty greasy and, like, the stuff's just on, like, a piece of paper and it looks like it wouldn't pass code, that's going to be where the best Mexican food is. So I kind of did that.
Yes.
Chick-fil-A I didn't do. There was... Anyway.
Oh, Chick-fil-A is so good.
I feel like we should at some stage touch on the New York pizza thing.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that. But
just to interrupt again, my favourite food in England was actually Popeyes.
Oh, there you go.
And I had Popeyes in America, in New York.
Wasn't as good as the English one?
I mean, I don't really remember it, so it mustn't have been.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Chili pizza. So...
Talk about pizza.
Yeah,
Before we move
so
on.
I'm going to close up with the chopped cheese again because that was obviously my sort of MO. But I did go and do some New York pizza and I initially went to one called Joe's, which my cousin, who is a New York local, lives in the Upper West Side. She said that was the best one. So I went down there, I had some. It was extremely good.
I'd argue it's the most well-known one.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple. There's Joe's, and then there's another one that's like Jay's, and they're all very similar.
Yeah.
Now I will concede that at Joe's I got something that was not a pepperoni. However,
or a cheese.
Or a cheese. It was like
they're like the standard.
It was
food
a kind of supreme.
comparing.
There was all sorts of fun shit on it. But I had a really good time eating those. They were crunchy.
Did you notice that like they don't do that often?
Other stuff.
Usually it's just cheese, pepperoni, and maybe white.
I mean, the places that I went, I found they had options.
Okay.
But
I mean, I haven't been in 7 years.
On
so
the menu,
maybe it's different.
On the menu, there was like 5 or 6 options, but in the sort of display, it was very clear that the cheese and the pepperoni were doing the rounds, and the other ones were sort of.
Did you have a white pizza?
Yes, I did have a white pizza actually.
I don't know about them.
It was odd. It felt
like,
very bechamel-y. It felt very kind of lasagna adjacent,
but without.
It's kind of creamy. Yeah, like lasagna sauce rather than like a sort of standard cheese.
Do you know about white pizza?
Not a great deal, no.
Yeah.
And then I went to Upside Pizza, which on some little funky top 10 thing, it was top 20, wasn't it? So some ranking of the best ones Declan sent me was higher up than Joe's. And I tried that, and that was very good. And I had some more standard pizzas there.
Wasn't Joe's number
number
10, and then Upside was like 5 or something?
Upside was, I think, 7 or 8.
Okay.
But that was one that was close to me at the time. And then I happened to be close to the number 1. I went and checked that out. L'Industrie.
L'Industrie.
And I had some from there. I think once you're in that top 10 list, it's much of a muchness. They're all very similar. If I was squinting, which I was, all of the pizza cooking / reheating ovens were exactly the same. I think there's a sort of formula that if you stick to, you'll get pretty good.
It kind of reminds me of kebab shops.
Yeah.
In Melbourne. Like, they all use tech foods.
Exactly. I think there's a formula going on.
I mean, not all of them. Some of them use different stuff. Like, I went to a kebab shop the other day in Hawthorne, and they didn't have the usual lamb.
Whoa. It was a different lamb?
It was like actual lamb instead of minced lamb.
Like a sort of lambs on Lygon situation.
Haven't been there yet.
Oh.
What?
Gotta go to lamb. That's the best kebab, man.
I'm about to.
Well, it's sort of a souvlaki if we really want to squint. It's more Greek-inspired than Lebanese-inspired. But
anyway...
So to summarise, can you name off the top of your head maybe just the top 3 overall food experiences you had in the States?
Yeah, definitely. Top 3 overall. Number 3, doing the sort of bluefin tuna ceviche right next to the beach in San Diego. Number 2, the New York slice. And number 1's got to be the fucking chopped cheese, baby.
Nice.
It was so good.
Yeah.
We haven't actually explained. It's sort of like a mincemeat or like a minced burger.
Ground beef
that you kind of split up with a spatula and then put cheese on
the grill while the meat's cooking.
On the grill while the meat's cooking.
So much like a Philly cheesesteak, but instead of strips of beef steak, it's minced beef.
Minced. And they've got like
onion.
A little sort of spice mix going on with the beef. And then it's very much sort of kebab rules, lettuce, tomato, onion. You can add hot sauce. I often did. You can add jalapenos if you want. You got your sundry extras.
On a hero roll.
You could get it on sort of a more round burger spec roll, and that was slightly cheaper. Or the hero roll, which is basically just like a sub.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a long boy.
A hoagie.
And they were the best. And I smashed so many of those.
That's
great.
And
I'm going to miss them dearly. I think I'm going to work out how to cook them here. So I can continue my chopped cheese lifestyle back in Australia.
I went to Whiplash Cafe in Hawthorne once. Had one of the best bagels. It was like a pastrami, cream cheese, like dill pickles, honey mustard type situation.
Yes.
And I was hungover, so it made it that much better.
Oh.
And the next week, I just bought all the stuff to make it at home. So
yes,
have you been to Kelso's?
I haven't, but I've heard there's another place called Reuben's that's just opened. That's basically like New York deli vibes, but it's in the southeast somewhere. I think it's Armadale.
I went to Kelso's kind of recently, and I had a chopped cheese.
Really? They've got a chopped cheese?
Yeah, I Google search chopped cheese Melbourne and. Kelso's is right at the top.
Okay, well, I might have to suss that.
It's literally a 10-minute drive from here.
Mad. I'm going to... that can be for episode 5. I can give us a review of the Australian chopped cheese and see how it fares.
Well, we could go there.
We could do a remote podcast.
Yeah.
Moving boat podcast.
Just insert a clip in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, Declan and I discussed in a previous episode that we need to do a Shamrock Hotel Echuca Palmer episode because they've got 101 Palmers there, but I'm not going to go deep
more dollars.
Yeah, can I just point out that I don't think I paid more than $8 for a chopped cheese, and this chopped cheese is $17, which I'm sure if you look at $1 equals 65 US cents, so might be slightly more reasonable.
$8 is like 11.8.
So that's
Australian.
still like an extra $5.
Yeah.
But
it's the convenience. You don't have to fly to America.
No. That is true. It does cost more to fly to America than it does to go to Abbotsford. Now, can we talk about Froffies?
Yes, that brings us to Froffies.
All right, shall I start?
Yes.
Haven't been drinking glass Coke much lately.
Damn.
Yeah, I think I just went too hard and it lost a bit of its magic, you know?
Yes. You're having a tolerance break.
Everything in moderation.
I've been having Pepsi Max a bit lately, just you know, sugar free because I'm a skinny queen.
Yes.
And that's all I have to say on the topic. Moving on to Toby.
You know, that's very interesting because actually I feel like a lot of people tend to pivot between those two. My dad, God rest his soul, would often be smashing like 3-4 liters of Coke a day, and then without any sort of warning, and would not drink anything else. If anyone offered him a Pepsi, he would go, absolutely not. Who do you think I am? And then just on a dime, 4 months later would go, actually, I'm drinking Pepsi Max now, and if you offer me anything else, I'll kill you.
Wow.
But then it'd swap back like 4 months later. It sort of, so I think it's a universal flip-flop situation.
Maybe.
Between the Pepsi Max and the glass Coke.
My dad used to drink fucking like at least 2 liters of Coke a day, and then I think he had some sort of
what does that tell us?
Hang on, can I?
Oh no!
Can I? I'm going to quote him. I think when I asked him about why he stopped drinking Coke, I think he said. He goes, "I'll shit and blood by the end."
Oh my god!
Oh jeez!
And then he moved on to Solo instead, which was a bit sad for me because I used to, just drink the Coke as well. I imagine it's less bad.
It's a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
There's like an acid in Coke that can like grind your
make you
bones
shit
down
blood.
and stuff. Yeah. Well,
it was very graphic, and
that's crazy.
I was pretty young when he said it, and I remember it obviously. Anyway,
and yet
R.I.P.
you still drink lots of Coke. It didn't turn you off.
Not as much as him.
Well,
you know
that's
what
true.
though? My dad used to drink black instant coffee, which is the worst coffee.
That is crazy. Yeah.
hey now.
And I so between that and a banana that he would eat all the time, and then he'd just leave it in the car for hours or days. It kind of turned me off coffee and bananas a little bit.
Well, that's my breakfast, but just milk with the coffee.
Well, that's significantly better.
Yeah,
Just
black
just a
coffee.
drop of milk.
I will do it if it's.
Moccana, the brand.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't even use that. I've got the home brand organic
Bang.
Coles bullshit.
The old.
It works fine. I like it.
I don't know if I should weigh in on this coffee thing. So I've been chewed up and spat out both sides by the coffee snobbery Melbourne cult. I grew up. My mum would not buy coffee out unless she knew the place, and if she bought a coffee out and she didn't like it, she'd throw it out and tell the barista it was shit.
Oh my god!
And,
I was on board until the end.
Savage.
My dad never drank coffee in his life, but he would always try to make coffee good enough for my mum, which was very sweet. But we went through about 6 coffee machines before we got to satisfaction. And we had...
What'd you do with the other ones?
We'd either sell them or we'd hold on to them. So the one just behind us in the kitchen you can see is probably coffee number 3.
Can you see it?
I don't think we can, but the one I now have was inherited because Mum didn't like it, and then we had a Swedish super automatic one which she didn't like, and now we've got a Rocket Espresso Milano Appartamento, which is my favorite thing in the world, and I'm gonna have to buy one when I have my own place.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've used that one all of 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that one. It's just like a mission, and it's manual, and it kind of explodes if you don't do it properly.
It's on the bench, and it's in the way.
Yeah, I should probably move it. But as far as frothies are concerned, within the context of the US trip,
Coffees?
Frothies.
Froffies, yeah, we've got...
Because I was about to say, didn't you go to some coffee places?
I did do the sort of Melbourne Coffee Snob reviews American coffee a couple of times, and it's really come leaps and bounds, you guys. I really think it's pretty much up to scratch.
That's good.
By and large. They've jumped on the Melbourne Snob coffee train. They've got blackboards. They're displaying the coffee beans on a little placard next to the coffee machine.
Do you want
They're
some
putting
chocolate?
They're putting coffee.
Save it.
They're putting the coffee machine right on the front rather than behind the counter, and they're putting the logo on. You know, they've got just random vintage bikes hanging from the wall. They're doing the Melbourne coffee shop thing, and they're doing it well enough that I felt like it was fine. As far as other frothies is concerned, as far as Declan frothies are concerned, I found that US soft drinks are vastly different from Australian.
Really?
Mostly because of the nature of the whole high fructose corn syrup thing.
So
My mouth
I
felt often very dry and very starchy after a delicious,
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, yes. Dr. Pepper was the one that cooked me the first day.
see. I didn't really notice that much difference. Mostly the aftertaste.
The aftertaste, and I feel like it was a mouthfeel thing. Like I'd finish and I'd feel like my mouth was very dry. But
I don't recall feeling that. But
also, I got real into Snapple.
Oh.
Snapples was sick. It's very much just like a Lipton iced tea, which I'm a huge fan of, but better and more variety.
And you mentioned the Arizona iced teas, which we pay fucking ridiculous amounts of
Yeah, they're
import
about
tax
$8
for.
over here. Over there, no more than $1 anywhere you go.
And the guy that made them had basically came out and said they're always staying this price regardless of the economy.
was it $1 or $2?
$0.99.
Okay. Yeah, it literally says it on the can.
Yeah.
It was 99 cents.
There's this funny scene from the show Atlanta featuring Donald Glover.
That was filmed in New Orleans, don't you know?
Good show. Have you watched it?
It's bits. I've seen bits. I need to watch the rest.
and
I
the-
need to watch it all the way.
And the
through.
sequel, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which isn't a sequel at all, but it's made by the same people.
It's made by Mr. Gambino,
And that Japanese director guy.
Mrs.
Who-
Gambino.
No, he's like Hiro something.
I see. Can I pivot to the actual frothies in the
yes,
event?
do it.
Wonderful. American frothies. The two things I noticed almost immediately was that nowhere was consistent vis-a-vis beers. Hiro Murai was Mrs. Gambino that we were talking about, who co-directed Atlanta. The frothies are not consistent at all.
Right.
You know, in Melbourne, if you were to float around a pub, you would often find Stone and Wood, Cow Draft.
Bolter.
You'd find Bolters.
Yeah.
You'd find some sort of
Furphy, Great Northern.
Furphy, great. Yeah. Over there, nowhere is same. Nowhere is same. There's different lagers. There's different pale ales. And they're all pretty weird and they're all pretty different. You also don't get pints. You get a 20 or a 16.
Ounce.
Which is ounce.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I was like, I got a pint, and they're like, what is that? And I was like, oh my god.
Metric
You also
system.
don't have drafts. Drafts don't exist in the US. Draft is what they call taps. So if something's on draft, it's a keg. So if you ask for, I'll just get a draft, they'll be like, which one? All the taps are here.
What about a lager?
They have lagers, but if you called it a draft, they'd think you were silly.
Okay. Because the likes of Coors and Miller's, they're all lagers, right?
Yes, and there was one called Michelob Ultra.
Yes.
It was a little bit more consistent that I dropped into a couple of times.
I thought that was a vodka.
No, it's a light beer, or it's like a lager.
Yeah.
However, there was one beautiful rock of consistency that I could lay my hat on, and it was every bar, and it was always extremely satisfactory. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but it did keep me sane, and that was Guinness.
Hey.
I could go into any bar and not recognize any of the taps, not know anything, but there would always be a Guinness tap, and I could hang my hat on that and be very happy.
Well, because Guinness taps you would expect would be a little bit more expensive to install
Well,
in general.
I
Because of the
think-
whole nitro thing.
it is the nitro thing, but I think it's just a cultural knowing that there's just a Guinness tap.
That's great.
I think it's just a thing. On these sort of clear, less frothy frothies that are sort of 40% ABV, the spirit frothies,
Spirit.
Spirit. I found that it was extremely difficult in the US to spirit anywhere because not only I think are the imperial measurements for a shot different. I think
Less
it's
or more?
50 mils rather than 30.
That's good.
But I think in order to sort of get tips, they tend to just double that. So I would ask for a shot and I would get a sort of small mug of whiskey or vodka or whatever. And it was harrowing. And I got very sick. Now, can we talk about the Fortnite? Or do you have anything to chip in vis-a-vis Frothies?
I've got a few things to chip in via Froffies.
We'll go by all means, Frothy.
Well, first of all, this nice beverage I'm drinking right now, not a product placement or endorsement or anything, but they've entered the RTD market recently, ready to drink. Barry, they call themselves. That's founded by a number of AFL footballers, including Bailey Smith
Yes,
and the Dacos
he's
boys.
that boy with that mullet, and he
That's all I know about him.
Yep.
he played for a team that I've immediately forgotten, but it's got blue in it.
Bulldogs.
Yes, that's got blue.
Ah,
in it.
yes, the Blue Dogs.
The Blue Dogs. That's what I was thinking.
For me, I like it because it's not. I mean, obviously they're going for the whole low sugar, zero carb sort of approach that all seltzers like White Claw and stuff do, but it's not outlandishly like artificial. Like you can taste like there's some sort of sweetness going on there, and it still feels like a healthier drink. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah, do recommend if you're after something that's not like artificial, like a Suntory 196. Which, I mean, that's a hot take because
That
everyone
is a hot
loves
take.
those. And
I'm not sure about. Is that? Would you call that more artificial?
It tastes more artificial to
I'm
me,
not
like
sure
the
about
sweeteners they use.
Now,
for me,
do you
but-
have a sort of top 3 ranking of all of the sort of vodka soju drinks as far as RTDs go? I'm talking specifically about
boy.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. That's tough.
You're allowed to
because
chuck flavors in. It can't just be like one brand.
Can you put hard rated in that topic? Because I think it's a little bit. I
reckon you can.
Okay. All right. Well, third, I might go with the Kirin Hyoketsus.
Oh, yes.
They do a lemon and a peach, as far as I'm aware. They're a little bit like the Barrys. And 2, I'm going to go with Barry. Why not? Number 1, hard rated. I need to try grog, though.
Yes, I've had a singular grog, but I was very trashed at the time, and so I couldn't do a proper scientific review. But I reckon grog should be on the list for the next little bit because I reckon it's worth keeping an eye out for.
Yep. And now our producer's been on the headsets to us saying that
Wrap it up.
we're going to play this game
Shut
out
up.
and then probably wrap this episode up. But it has been a fantastic chat about all things overseas in the US, about all sorts of food and frothies.
I think I should mention the chocolate that we were eating before.
Yeah, time and
Is
place.
the dairy milk? Well, I missed the food part.
Oh,
Dairy milk
that's
velvet.
true. Very good.
Not sponsored.
Yes.
It's a little more bitter than
40% more cocoa, which
Yep,
is
that-
probably
that
that.
explains it.
25% more milk. I guess it's their attempt at like the lint kind of.
Yeah,
It's
more
kind of
fancy.
minty. It tastes more sort of.
Does anyone want
you know,
more?
I feel like
I'm all
less
good for now, thank you.
Less doctored. It feels like more cocoa-y and less sugary.
Would you like some more?
I'm all right.
Okay, I will eat more.
You will eat the rest. Excellent. Shall we talk about Fortnite for the tail end of this game, or should we just kind of
Yeah.
go Fortnite for next time?
So the new season has gone from the whole like Mad Max sort of operation,
Yes.
which still includes those parts of the maps, but not the main bosses,
Mm-hmm.
to a more Marvel themed sort of thing.
Yes, they've got,
You've got-
all of those Avengers and some of the other guys also.
As you can see on screen, you've got Doom's Stud,
So
Doom's
that's Mr. Doom.
yes, Doom's Courtyard, and Castle's Doom.
Oh,
Castle Doom.
Doom's got all sorts of property.
Yep. You got
He's in
all
the
sorts
real
of
estate
Dooms.
I thought Doom died.
I think I don't know if Doom's been in the moment of silence for MF Doom. That's actually really sad. I love that guy. But I don't think
Oh,
he's
you
been
know
in
he
a
fucking died
mainstream
yesterday?
movie.
Fat Man Scoop.
Yeah, I did see
Yeah,
Fat
I
Man
did
Scoop.
see that. That's really sad.
I want
Rest
to talk
his
about
soul,
this
yeah.
actually.
All right, go.
So when that song came out, you know the one. His biggest song.
Yeah. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know the one.
This might be before Tobias.
No, that's not
I'm gonna
it.
plead the fifth on this
I
one.
don't know.
Be Faithful, I think.
There's another one. But yeah, go on.
Anyway, so in primary school, I think it was grade 3, 4-ish. For some reason, we had this like segment in class or whatever where you'd bring in a song you liked and then we'd just play it for the class and listen, which in hindsight is kind of weird, kind of cool. It might have been show and tell, but like music themed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I downloaded that song off LimeWire and burnt it onto a CD, and I'm
Sick.
like, hey everyone, this is my favorite song at the moment. And the teacher's like, is there any swearing? And I'm like, oh, I don't think so.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it gets to the middle of the song where he says about 50 times, who fucking tonight?
Oh.
And then the teacher's like, I think it does have
I
swearing.
think
And I'm like, sorry.
you should have just gone. I don't know what that means.
No, I'm like, I think he's saying something else. And she's like, no, I don't think
he's
so.
Well, we know who's definitely not fucking tonight, and it's him. Moment
R.I.P.
of silence for our boy.
Yeah.
Now,
I
we
believe
did
he
just wrap
died
up that game.
pretty young. Age 53.
Shall we bid adieu?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks for watching. I've been Gary Smith.
I'm Cameron.
And my name's Tobias.
Thank you so much for joining us.
No
and
worries.
Also, yeah,
It was extremely pleasant.
go check out the US. I heard there's good things happening there.
Go check out the US. They do have bodegas and frothies and Fortnite.
Up and coming little country.
Yeah, go check it out. And you know what? It's so nice of you to shout out the US. It really needs some support.
Stay tuned next episode. We
Big
have a
episode.
special guest who we will not say who is yet.
Yes, that's for the reveals.
Yeah.
To be revealed.
Okay, bye.
All right,
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Food in the shop, Froffies in the shop, Fortnite in the shop.